So iPhone 17 lineup is finally here after many leaks and anticipations, but they look different from what you think. And as you might know, the September Apple event is not only about iPhones, but also iPhone and accessories. And so we did get new AirPod, the AirPods Pro 3 with life-changing features that you may want to stick to the end of the video to find out, and a new set of watches, including a new Series 11 that now has a high blood pressure sensor. So here you have it. First looking at the iPhone 17, 17 Air, thinnest iPhone ever, and 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. But let's start according to how Apple announced them on stage, starting with AirPods Pro 3. For design wise, it really did not get a whole lot technically new, but Apple did added heart rate sensor, so it now measures your heartbeat during workouts, which is pretty awesome. Plus, some other hearing protections and testing features were added as well. And you also now get 8 hours of listening mode with active noise cancellation on a single charge at the same price like its predecessor, $249. Anyways, now to the new watches, starting with Series 11. And just like what I said about the AirPods Pro 3 also applies here too. The design of the Apple Watch Series 11 technically haven't changed that much, but on the inside they've added a 5G modem, and the optical heart sensor can now notify you if it identifies patterns of high blood pressure. However, if this is the only reason why you may want to buy the Series 11, I'll suggest you wait, because Apple is now waiting for clearance from the FDA before rolling out this feature on the Series 11. And given the history of recent trend across tech industry where they promise a feature will be later added to their hardware and end up not doing so, makes it harder to recommend such products. So I would suggest you buy Series 11 based on what it is now, but not on a feature Apple is promising to add later. But I'm not saying by any means that Series 11 did not get any upgrade. That is not worth of buy. Series 11 now gets up to 24 hours of battery life and additional color space gray with a lot of new palettes of colors across the entire band lineup. And for Watch SE3, they have now added S10 chip, 5G double tap gestures, and you can now listen to music through the speaker, but only available in 2 colors, midnight and starlight. So that's it for Watch SE3. A very pretty manual upgrade, but it's not like I'm downplaying the amount of technical engineering that goes into achieving these things. Like clearly they still have to combine different type of components like the charger and the metal backplate into one piece, with the antennas integrated to improve the thinness like what they've done on the new Apple Watch Ultra 3. So the Ultra 3 now gets a new display which Apple is calling wide angle OLED and LTPO3, including a new watch interface waypoint. And on the inside, they've added S10 chip and has increased the battery life to 42 hours. And just like other watches, it's also supporting 5G and satellite connectivity. And that's all for the Ultra 3. So now it's time for us to talk about the new iPhone 17. And yes, you are right if you think this looks familiar. And I stand to be correct. The iPhone 17 looks more like a twin brother to the iPhone 16 than an actual upgrade. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But of course, there are some pretty little minor changes which are hard to find if you don't know where to look at. So let's talk about them. So the iPhone 17 now comes in new colors. Of course, we now have lavender, mist blue, black, white, and sage. But one thing Apple did to the display which surprised me was they've now increased the screen size from 6.1 inch to 6.3 and outdoor screen brightness to 3000 nits. And I know I earlier said there were only minor changes, but this got me off guard. They finally added ProMotion with adaptive refresh rate up to 120Hz with ProMotion display. And in case if you don't get what any of those things means, is they are just features that makes scrolling, gaming, and animation on the iPhone response much faster and smoother. And always on display is like a standby mode. So it keeps your iPhone lock screen on but reduces the brightness, so it does not really affect your battery life. So yeah, I was surprised, and I'm sure including everyone else at the event, to see that Apple finally listened to their customers. But they did not stop there. The camera also had a huge update with some incredible new features that I'm sure an everyday iPhone user will appreciate more. So the main camera is still the same when compared to last year's iPhone, but the upgrade is on the new ultra wide camera. So now the iPhone 17 gets 48 megapixel Fusion ultra wide camera. This is a big jump when compared to iPhone 16 12 megapixel. But where things get more interesting is on the front facing camera. The new 18 megapixel of the front-facing camera of the iPhone 17 now has a new feature that automatically puts you in the middle of the screen when using the front-facing camera for selfie or video. And here is the part that shows Apple really cooked with the iPhone 17. With this new feature, you can now switch your camera orientation from portrait to landscape while still holding the iPhone vertical, and when taking group selfies, the iPhone will automatically filter the view based on the number of people in the shot. And on the inside, the iPhone 17 is being powered by A19 chip, and according to Apple, it's 20% faster than the one in iPhone 16. And another hardware Apple also claimed the iPhone 17 is much better in that category too is the battery life. The battery is set to last full day, and 20 minutes of wireless charge will get you 50%. So that's all for iPhone 17. So now let's move to the new iPhone model, the iPhone Air. This is a radical iPhone, the thinnest iPhone ever made, but also is the most durable iPhone in the iPhone 17 lineup because it covers with titanium and has ceramic glass on both sides. And if I'm to demonstrate to you how ridiculously thin the iPhone 17 Air is, put 4 credit cards together. But of course, getting a smartphone to be thin like the 5.6mm iPhone 17 Air, there will definitely be some trade-off. So one of those trade-offs will be one of the major reasons why a lot of people wouldn't buy the iPhone 17 Air. It has only one real fusion back camera, and as you can see from these few speaker holes, you can tell the speaker will be very small. But another part of the iPhone 17 Air that I admire it being small is the bezel around the 6.5-inch screen. And speaking of the screen, it gets bright up to 3000 nits outdoor, has a ProMotion and always on display at 1 Hz. And for the first time, Apple has added anti-reflection to the Apple screen for easy readability when you are in a reflective environment. But as thin as Apple made the iPhone 17 Air, they were able to increase the screen size to 6.5-inch. But do you know which iPhone else has the same screen size? The iPhone 11 Pro Max and the iPhone 11 XS Max. But none of those iPhone weighs at 165 grams, and that is the exact weight of this iPhone. But as much thin Apple made the iPhone 17 Air to be, it did not favor what's inside. But there's A19 chip to power it, plus N1 chip for better connectivity of Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread. But there's no physical SIM tray. The iPhone 17 Air is eSIM across all board, and we all know the reason why. Of course, there's no space. So when Apple said the battery in the iPhone 17 Air will last all day, I did not buy that. And where things get fishy that the battery wouldn't last long is where Apple introduced a custom power band specifically designed for the iPhone 17 Air. So yeah, I don't expect the iPhone 17 Air to last full day on a single charge, but it's available in 4 different colors: space black, cloud white, light gold, and sky blue. So yeah, when looked through a narrow lens, the iPhone 17 Air is just designed to be the thinnest iPhone, but not to be competing with other iPhone 17 lineup in terms of specs. So the question baffling on the internet is, why would Apple make a phone that has not advantage in the category other than being thin? And the only reason I came up with why Apple might have made that decision was a strategy to now get to design the main iPhone lineup, like the Pro iPhones, to what they want. Because think about it, if you have the options to buy a thin iPhone, why would you be worried if the next iPhone Pro is bulky? I might be wrong too. It might also be them trying out to see if they can make future iPhone this thin. Let's discuss what you think of this in the comments. But let's just get into the Pro iPhones. New colors this year: silver, blue, and orange. So this year's design is slightly different from how the Pro iPhones has been in the past years. From the look, the first thing that you will notice is the big camera bar at the top, which Apple named it the Plateau. And it's kind of a good design from the inside. And because of the camera bar, Apple was able to stack a lot of components at that side of the iPhone, giving more room for the battery to get bigger. And another thing Apple did on the outside of the camera bar is they've wrapped an antenna around the Plateau, making the iPhone 17 Pro to have the highest antenna system ever put on an iPhone. But they've decided to take a step back to aluminum. So the frame of the iPhone is no more a titanium, but aluminum, and that sucks. 2 years ago, same Apple was on stage preaching on how titanium is much better than aluminum. But here we are in 2025, back to aluminum. But I think they did that to stop the iPhone overheating issue. And that's why for the first time, Apple added a vapor chamber on the inside of the iPhone 17 Pro right in the middle. And so we shouldn't expect the iPhone 17 Pro to get as hot like the previous iPhones. For the battery side, Apple said it should last 9 hours on video playback. I don't know exactly the mean about that, but as this year the battery has gotten bigger, I know for sure it will last than the previous iPhones. And then the cameras. Apple always use the Pro iPhone to show their strength in the camera, and that's exactly what they did with iPhone 17 Pro. The main and the ultra wide are the same on the iPhone 17 Pro, but where the differences come in place is with the third camera, the 48 Fusion 4x telephoto camera. And I know 4x sounds like a downgrade from iPhone 16 Pro 5x, but what makes iPhone 17 Pro to have a better telephoto camera despite it having a 4x is the sensor is 56% larger and has more resolution of 48 megapixels. And just like other iPhone 17 lineup, the Pro iPhones also get new selfie camera, supports Qi 2 charging, and has a new display brightness. The video also gets better with a new Genlock sync support. So that's all Apple announced at the event, but there'll be more review on the new iPhone, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. And if you find this video interesting, that means you will like more on my channel, so you can check me out. Thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. See you very soon in my next video. Peace out.